On a first-class flight, a janitor is publicly doused with coffee by a billionaire. The next moment, he pulls out, leaving the TYCN utterly stunned. The sunlight, thick like melted butter, SMEA read itself over every inch of South African Airways Flight J201's first-class cabin. Champagne blasses through little sparkles around as a flight attendant quietly refilled a passenger's cup with freshly baked croissants. In this gilded palace in the sky, Akino Gundami lounged in his leather seat, tapping his tablet. Platinum stock prices flashing up another 3.7%. He smirked at his assistant. See that? Africa's future is right there in those numbers. 38, born in Lagos, Oxford educated, heir to West Africa's biggest mining empire. Akin wore tailored suits, Patek Philippe watches, and spoke in a polished London Yoruba hybrid that made him the poster boy for the new African elite. This Johannesburg trip. Just another business move. Buy a failing South African mining company, strip it for pa-RTS, sell the equipment to Europe. Then, a figure slipped silently down the aisle. Kalu. Dressed in a faded blue janitor's uniform, a grey rag slung over his shoulder. He moved softly, mopping the floor, ca refill not to disturb the privileged passengers. His skin was weathered, eyes steady, like stones resting at the bottom of a lake. From Kenya's western highlands, Luo tribe. His father fished Victoria Lake, his mother gathered herbs to heal villagers. 10 years ago, the government labeled their village an ecotourism zone, bulldozed homes, forced them into resettlement camps. His father got hurt in the protests, coughed blood till he died. His mother followed soon after, sickness and no money for medicine. Kalu brought his sister to Nairobi, dreamed of becoming a teacher. But his rural school certificate meant nothing here. So he cleaned the invisible hands keeping the cities shine intact. Today wasn't his usual shift. But the first-class cleaner called in sick, and 300 extra shillings meant another month of his sister's medicine. Then, his mop bucket wobbled. One drop. Just one. Landed squa on Akin's Italian leather shoe. Hey! Akin jerked up, face twisted. You blind. Kalu froze. Sorry, sir. I'll clean it. He reached with his rag. Akin shoved him back, then flung half a cup of scalding Blue Mountain coffee straight at Kalu's chest. Get off! You village rat! The liquid seeped through fabric, burning skin. You know what these shoes cost? 10 years of your family's sweat. What do you Luos even do besides dig dirt and steal cows? Go back to your mud hut. The cabin went dead silent. Passengers buried themselves in screams or stole glances. No one spoke. In places like this, a cleaner's dignity wasn't worth the coffee in their cup. Kalu didn't move. The stain spread down his uniform, darkening the ca or pat. No anger. No TRS. Just standing, like a tree bent by wind but refusing to break. Then, slowly, he reached inside his uniform. pulled out a small bundle wrapped in cowhide. Akin sneered. What? Gonna curse me with black magic, you Africans, and you're primitive. Kalu ignored him. Unfolded the cloth, an egg-sized grey stone ved with an ancient Luo symbol, a snake eating its own tail. Cycles. Memory. And a pinch of ash, said to be from the village storyteller's dying fire. Kalu whispered in Luo, Gilo gi nyathindo, come gi doc, does shame wake you, or death? The plane lurched violently. Lights flickered. Oxygen masks dropped. Akin gasped, chest crushed, EARS ringing with voices he'd never. He rode wind over grass. Water on shore. Engine failure, he choked out. A flight attendant rushed in. Just turbulence, sir. Stable now. But Akin knew better. His heart hammered. Sweat soaked his shirt. He read at Kalu, who simply tucked the bundle away. Calm as still water. Sir, Kalu said softly, your flight will delay 20 minutes. Air traffic control. Akin wanted to scream, call security, but his throat locked. For the first time, his money, his power, his place, none of it felt solid against this quiet man. The plane steadied. Sunlight still golden. Champagne still cold. But Akin couldn't relax. When he closed his eyes, he stood on a Ren plane, not dirt underfoot, but eyes. All the miners he'd underpaid, the safety reports he'd ignored. A black bird landed on his shoulder, whispered, you forgot who you are. Meanwhile, Kalu stepped into the service galley. Rinsed coffee from his shirt. Gentle motions. He knew the stone held no magic. It couldn't choke a man or down a plane. What did work was memory, his father's voice teaching him fish names, his mother's rule, herbs a rent for selling, but healing, the storyteller's last words, when a man's pressed. Into EARTH, he rots or takes root. He glanced out the window. Africa sprawled below, Victoria Lake mirroring the clouds. This journey was just beginning. And in Akin's Johannesburg penthouse office, a giant African map hung on the wall. Red circles marked mining sites like open wounds. Right then, the glass over Nigeria to Kenya cracked clean down the middle. No one saw. But the wind had already rude blowing. At 5 in the morning, Lake Victoria still slept under a blanket of mist. The water wore a thin white veil, like the breath of ancestors. Back when Kalu was 6, this was the hour his father would wake him, Kaeru, Jeech. Child, rise. Rubbing his eyes, he'd stumble out of the thatched hut, the feet sinking into damp earth. His father already had the dugout canoe ready, ved from a single ebony tree, its bow etched with a fish, the Luo tribe symbol. His mother waited by the door with a basket of smoked fish and cassava cakes. Eat, she'd smile. The lake spirit favors the hard-working. His father never spoke much. Just paddled softly. The water lay still as glass, broken only by the occasional fish leaping, ripples spreading like whispers. They cast nets not to sell, but to let the lake know we still remember. His father's words, the lake feeds us. We must feed it too. No greed. No waste. No complaints. Back then, the village had no electricity, no paved roads, but it had songs. Fishing chants at dawn, homecoming tunes at dusk, and at night, elders circled fires as Guru told stories. Guru wasn't a witch doctor or chief. He was the Piney, the storyteller, the only one who remembered every ancestor's name and the paths they'd walked. Small, hunched, but with eyes bright as stars, kids clung to his every word. Long ago, Guru's voice would rumble low and slow, white men came. They held papers, drew a line, said, "This side is Kenya. That side, Uganda." But the lake said, "I am just water. I know no borders. Fish swim. Birds fly. People should too." Yet the white men said, "No. You need papers. Taxes. Coffee to sell." The children sat wide-eyed. Kalu once asked, "Why do we listen?" Guru chuckled. "Because we thought they had progress." But what is progress? Electric lights, cars, or sending our children to cities where they forget how to say grandmother? The village school taught only English and math. Luo was banned as a backway RD dialect. History lessons called Africa the Dark continent until Europeans brought civilization. When Kalu asked about Luo kingdoms, ironwork, astronomy, the teacher snapped, "That's primitive. Not on the exam." So Guru Sta root underground classes, Luo proverbs, medicinal herbs, how stars foretold seasons. "Knowledge isn't in books," he'd say. "It's in the wind, the soil, the water. Remember this, and you'll never be truly poor." Then the government came. They declared the lake a national ecotourism asset. Hotels, golf courses, water parks. Villagers were forced to a modern resettlement zone 30 kilometers away. Modern Kalu's father spat. "We have the lake, fish, and songs. What's more modern than that?" Bulldozers answered. Homes crushed. Fields seized. At the protest, police broke 2 of his father's ribs with batons. His mother treated him with herbs, but his cough grew worse, wet and wheezing, like an old ox. The rainy season drowned their tin-roof shack. His mother's lungs failed. Kalu trekked mountains for clinic medicine, but they demanded payment up front. By the time he scraped together the money, she was gone. At her funeral, the village sang the journey home all night. Guru stood graveside, voice rough, "The path she walks, we'll all walk. But remember, death isn't the end. Forgetting is." Kalu held his sister, Trs long dried. School was a dream now. Survival wasn't. He wrapped Guru's red stone and sacred ashes in cowhide, tucked it against his skin. The night before leaving, Guru hobbled to him. Karu, the old man said, "Go. But don't forget who you are." Luo's a ring poor or illiterate. You're the lake's child, the wind's heir. One day, you'll return. How Kalu choked. "When you hear the land weeping," Guru said. That's when Nairobi swallowed them whole. The city was a beast feasting on villagers like him. In Kibra slum, they rented a tin shack, no water, no power, just a reeking pit latrine shared by 20 families. He scrubbed office floors by day, scavenged trash by night. His sister ached to study, but school fees bled them dry. She washed dishes until her hands wrinkled like old fruit. A free vocational training scam left her in debt. Kalu worked writer cleaner to supervisor, finally got her into night classes. Then, weeks before graduation, she joined a Niger Delta protest against oil waste dumping. She never came home. Police called it accidental drowning. Kalu knew better. Big companies made inconvenient people disappear. He stopped speaking. Stopped dreaming. Just worked, mechanical. Numb. Until that flight. First class. Coffee scalding his chest. A kin calling him village rat. For a second, he thought he'd bow his head like always. But his hand moved on its own, reaching for the cowhide bundle. Not to curse. Not for revenge. Because suddenly, he rethem. His father's paddle dipping into water. His mother stirring herbs. Guru's firelit chants. He understood, akin didn't fia are him, akin fia read what he stood for. A life money couldn't define. A dignity rooted deeper than soil. The kind that, even trampled into mud, would not break. At Johannesburg's airport, passengers filed out. Akin staggered past, pale, silent for once. Kalu gathered his mop and bucket. A flight attendant. Offered an envelope, tip from first class. 5,000 shillings. 2 months' wages. He pushed it back. Not why I came today. Then why through the window, Africa stretched awake under dawnlight, savannah, mountains, and unfinished painting. Waiting for a man to wake from his dream, he said. That night, in a cheap hostel, Kalu placed the ca red stone on a table. Moonlight caught the serpent's grooves, making them glow. He dreamed of the lakeshore. Guru waved from a canoe, Ka-ru, Jeech. The lake spirit waits. Somewhere, wind drummed across the plains. He knew it wasn't just a dream. It was memory. And memory never sleeps. Johannesburg at night was like black velvet studded with diamonds. Skyscrapers glittered, neon signs pulsed, private security patrolled behind iron gates, helicopters circled overhead. In Africa's richest city, the line between wealth and poverty was sharper than any border. On one side, Santon's blinding. Lights, on the other, slums like Kibera, divided by a highway like an uncrossable canyon. Akino Gundami's penthouse crowned the tallest tower in Santon. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the city's river of light. He called it the Eagle's Nest because he loved looking down on the world. But since that flight, the nest had become a cage. He couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he dreamed of walking through a desert where the sand was made of eyes, not angry, just watching, waiting. He'd try to run, but his legs wouldn't move. A drumbeat pulsed in his ears, unfamiliar yet achingly familiar. Sleeping pills, meditation apps, his private doctor's hypnosis, nothing worked. Classic PTSD, the doctor said. Take a break. Maldives, maybe. Break-a-kin tossed the report aside. I've got acquisitions next week. Your body's screaming for help. Elevated heart rate, unstable BP, keep this up, it's cardiac arrest or a breakdown. Akin scoffed. My father was still inspecting mines at 60. I'm not even halfway. It wasn't death he feared, it was losing control. His whole empire was built on it, controlling mines, stocks, employees, his wife, his children's futures. His father's mantra, Africans are lazy, emotional. To succeed, think like a white man, cold, efficient, rational. At Oxford, he'd scrubbed his accent, buried his tribal roots, even shortened Akinwan to akin to sound global. His wife was a Cape Town socialite, mixed white and Boer blood, poised, never emotional. Their kids attended international schools, summered in London, learned piano, French, equestrian. We're the blueprint for the new Africa, he told journalists. Tradition is baggage. The future is all that matters. Now that future was crumbling, he kept hearing things. During Boa RD meetings, whispers in Luo. Who's playing tribal music? He'd snap. His assistant would blink, sir. It's just the AC. Then his platinum mines STA route acting up. Not accidents. Not strikes. Singing. Miners began chanting underground, not pop songs or protest slogans, but something ancient, rhythmic, resonant. Foreman said it seemed to rise from the EARTH itself, calming workers even in the most dangerous shafts. Find the ringleader. Akin ordered. Turns out, there wasn't one. A song called Veins of Blood had gone viral. Lyrics in Zulu, Xhosa, and English about ancestors Gwa riding the mines, warning against greed. Posted by Voice of the Soil, a pirate radio host named Amina. Bullshit. Akin smashed his tablet. Shut it down. Pay platforms to erase it. But deletions just fueled more uploads. Miners hummed it spontaneously. Some tattooed lyrics on their RMS, to Ngumtunga Bantu, a person is a person through others. His aide looked uneasy. Sir, workers say the song makes them dream of ancestors holding lanterns, guiding them. To safety. They're calling it a miracle. Miracle, it's sabotage. Cultural terrorism. He flew to the mines. The northern Cape site was Luna, our wasteland. His helicopter landed, but the foreman blocked the shaft. Not today, boss. Why the men are holding a ceremony? Outside, what happens here? He stormed in. Below, hundreds of miners circled a fire, lamps raised, chanting. The rhythm matched his Nitame residential exactly. Firelight ved their sweat-streaked faces into cave paintings. Akin froze at the entrance. His legs buckled. An old miner locked eyes with him, not with deference, but judgment. We're not machines, the man said. Our ancestors sleep in this EARTH, not so you can sell rocks to Europe. Akin fled to his CAR, shaking. That night, he summoned a Zulu Sangoma. The old man wore leap ARD skins, CA ride a staff, CA ved with symbols. You CARY a curse weight, the seer murmured. Someone bound you with the lands. Memory. Who? A man you shamed. He's no ordinary man. He ca rise the roots. Roots my ancestors are reburied in London. The Sangoma shook his head. Run all you want, your blood remembers. Those you trample will rise. Unless, you listen. To who? To yourself. Akin laughed bitterly. Enough. I believe in data, contracts, profits. He threw cash at the man and left. That night, the dreams worsened. He was a lion surrounded by hunters. When he ROA read, human sobs came out. Then the cleaner in blue approached, not with a gun, but a bowl of lake water. He woke up crying. For the first time, he asked, who am I, the Nigerian Tycian, the mining king, or the little boy who caught fish in Lagos Lagoon, the one his mother called Akinwand? He dug out an old photo album. There he was, dancing by his ancestral home, swimming in the river, grinning in mud-caked shorts. His eyes held no calculations then. Just light. He sta read at. The photo for hours. Next morning, he didn't go to the office. He sat on his balcony, watching the city burn with lights, feeling, for the first time, alone. By nightfall, he'd made a decision: he would find that cleaner. Not for revenge. Not to break the curse. Because somehow, he knew only that man could tell him how to be human again. Lagos in the rainy season hits like a sledgehammer. The sky cracks open, dumping floods onto tin roofs, narrow alleys, and mountains of trash. Sewage swirls through streets, swallowing motorcycles, market stalls, even ground floor homes. People wade refoot through the muck, kids play in the brown water. Like disaster's just another Tuesday. Kalu stood under the awning of Hope Bookstore, watching the downpour. Tucked away in an Ikeja backstreet, the shop was cramped, its sign faded, shelves crammed with used books, manuscripts, and pamphlets from Africa's independence movements. The owner, a 60-year-old Yoruba man with thick glasses, always had kruma or senga in his hands. He never asked Kalu's story, just handed him tea and said, "Your eyes, they look like the poets who wrote for freedom." Kalu came to Lagos for one reason: his sister. 3 months ago, her last message came from a Niger Delta protest. A shaky video showed black sludge gushing from pipes, fish belly up, villagers coughing blood. Her text: "They call this development. Our children bleed from their noses." Then silence. He chased every lead. Cops shrugged, media said no news value, mining PR sneered, employee actions aren't our responsibility. He was running out of hope. Until last night. In a hostel, he tuned into a pirate radio stream. A woman's voice cut through static, switching between Hausa, English, Yoruba, multinationals dumping waste in the Delta. Hundreds of kids with lead poisoning. And the government. Silent. The voice was Shah RP is broken. Glass. At the end, were voice of dust. Amplifying the forgotten. Kalu's pulse spiked. He tracked the signal to this bookstore, the radio's secret hub. Ariyu Amina, he asked when he saw her. She was adjusting dials on a mixer. Looked up. Late 20s, skin dark as midnight, eyes bright enough to burn. Short hair, a coppery ring shaped like an ancient freedom glyph. "I am," she said. "You need something." Kalu pulled up his sister's video. "Her name's Asha. Last seen at your protest." Amina's face changed. She re-watched it, whispered, "I remember her. Brave. Held her sign even when police charged. Where is she now?" Chaos that day. Many arrested. Some vanished. We're still digging. Kalu exhaled. Expected, but the words still crushed his chest. "Why do this radio?" he asked. A bitter laugh. "My father. Government environmental inspector. Reported illegal dumping. A month later, accidental car crash. Brakes failed. No investigation. She pointed to a photo on the wall, a man in white robes holding a little girl. They think silence keeps you safe. But silence just feeds the machine. The basement was their studio, a second-hand recorder, dented mics, walls papered with news clippings. A map of Africa marked every poison river, stolen farm, crushed protest in red. We're not terrorists, Amina said. We just refuse to let stories die. Kalu scanned the names: Niger Delta, Zimbabwe FARMS, Congo cobalt mines. Each one full of people like Asha. Need help, he asked. Amina smirked. A janitor turned revolutionary, not a revolutionary, Kalu said. Just want my sister's voice, he wrote. He joined their work. Days, he cleaned offices; nights, he followed Amina through slums, recording elders' tales, collecting forgotten songs. Hausa weaving chants, Yoruba planting rhymes, Igbo funeral poems, all ca ride the same warning: respect the land. Greed kills. One night, Amina paused mid-edit. That pouch, you carry, what's inside? Kalu hesitated, then unwrapped the stone. Amina gasped. A memory stone. You know it, grandma's stories. In Hausa, it's Zuma, eye of roots. They say it wakes sleeping memories, lets the lost hear our ancestors. She traced the carvings. Thought it was just a tale. Kalu smiled faintly. It's just a rock. The real magic's in the stories. Amina studied him. You're not just anyone. You're a keeper of echoes. Just then, the recorder clicked on by itself, Kalu's recording of his father's fishing song. The melody rippled like water. Amina's eyes lit up. We're using this. She worked all night, weaving the fishing chant, miner's hums, his mother's herb rhymes into an electronic beat. The track, Lake and City. Next morning, Voice of Dust dropped it online. Then Magic. Students read it. This song made me dream of Grandpa's village. Teachers played it. In class, our culture isn't backway it's power. Even a corporate engineer messaged, played this NEA are leaking pipes. They sealed themselves. Colleagues say the EARTH spirits woke up. Amina shook, STA ring at the numbers. Kalu, see not the stone, its resonance. When a million remember their roots, sound changes reality. But Kalu stayed quiet. The real fight was coming. That evening, police sirens wailed outside. Black SUVs. Plainclothes agents questioning neighbors. They're here, the old bookseller muttered. Voice got too loud. Kalu tucked the stone away. Back up all recordings. Scatter them. Stories can't live in one place. Amina nodded. We're not SCA red. As long as voices exist, so do we. Rain still fell. Kalu watched Lagos at night, slum fires flickering like stars, skyscrapers blazing with neon. He knew he might never find Asha. But he also knew she wasn't gone. Her voice had melted into the soil's echo, forever. Unbroken. Dawn in South Africa's northern Cape looks like the end of the world. The red EARTH stretches Baren, Pakmayurked with mining pits, gaping wounds in the land. Akin Mining's platinum operation looms like a steel beast, swallowing ore and sweat around the clock. Workers come from everywhere: Zulu, Xhosa, Tswana, even Zimbabwean refugees. They shuffle in cracked helmets and frayed overalls, descending into the pit under foreman's shouts. Kalu blends into the crowd. Just another new cleaner. No one glances twice. He's not here to sabotage or incite strikes. He's here to listen. Half a kilometer underground, the air hits like a furnace, 40 degrees, thick with dust. The tunnels groan under unstable rock. Jackhammers scream like damned souls. 12-hour shifts pay rely enough for bread. Assigned to waste cleanup, Kalu works silently but absorbs everything: foreman's curses, workers' coughs, machinery's roar. And beneath the noise, voices. Not chatter. Songs. Ancient, slow, breathing chants. During breaks, old miners huddle and hum. The words blur, but the melody rises from the earth itself, strangely calming. What song is that? Kalu asks Manjeni, a Zulu elder with gold-capped teeth. The man grins. Our grandfather's song of the deep. They said rocks have spirits. Sing to them, they won't collapse. Does it work? Believe, and it does. A wink. At least, singing makes Fia quieter. Kalu memorizes the tune. That night, he records a snippet, sends it to Amina in Lagos. 3 days later, she calls, breathless, Kalu, listen. Through the phone, a remix, the mining chant slowed, layered with Lake Victoria's waves, house saloon rhythms, Yoruba drums, and a child's voice reciting, land is ensouled. It's borrowed air. I'm calling it blood of the vein. Uploading now. Amina says. It's gonna blow up. Neither expected a Santo Spa RK storm. Next shift, miners. Start humming blood of the vein. First a few, then dozens, soon the whole damn pit. The melody wraps around them like vines. Some swear their drills feel lighter. Others dream ancestors holding lanterns, pointing to safe paths. Strangest of all, 3 accident-free days in a row. Impossible in this death trap. Foreman panic. Management gets alerted. In his Johannesburg office, Akin watches surveillance footage, face twitching. On screen, hundreds of miners circle a fire underground, lamps raised, singing. Firelight etches their sweat-streaked faces into some primal mural. Insanity. He slams his desk. Mass hysteria. Send security. Ahmed Gua RDS storm the tunnels, batons swinging, ordering silence. The workers just stop and sta. Their calm terrifies more than any riot. Beat us, Banjeni says. But the song won't die. It's not in our mouths. It's in the ground. That night, Akin's desert nightmare returns. More eyes now, countless. As stars. He tries to run, but blood of the vein rises from below, louder, louder. He wakes drenched. Find who's behind this. He snarls. Investigators point to voice of dust radio and a cleaner named Kalu. Akin laughs coldly. A janitor. I'll show him real power. He pulls strings. South African police issue a warrant for Kalu, citing incitement. Cuts workers' family subsidies, threatens, sing again, you're fired, whole damn family. But oppression fuels fires. Voice of Dust drops a special episode, Freedom Songs from the Pit. Amina invites artists across Africa, Somali poets reciting in Arabic, Congolese dancers body drumming, a Namibian elder adding Khoisan click harmonies. Global media pounces. BBC, South African miners sing against oppression. The Guardian, when capital goes deaf, the EARTH sings. Investors question Akin mining's social stability risks. Stocks plummet. PA earners waver. Akin erupts. Crush this. Erase that. Song. Then, the impossible. A German geologists report lands, platinum concentration increased 15% inexplicably. Seismic readings show resonance patterns as if the singing activated the ore. Akin freezes. Bullshit. Sound can't alter geology. Data doesn't lie, the scientist insists. This could revolutionize energy. Akin's torn. Exploit the miracle or kill its source. He descends into the pit himself. In his designer hazmat suit and Patek Philippe, he looks alien. Workers pause, watching silently. What do you want? HEROARS, higher wages, fine. But drop this voodoo. Banjeni steps four-way road. Boss, we don't want money. We want respect. We're not machines. Our ancestors sleep here, not for you to sell rocks to Europe. Ancestors. They're dust. No. Banjeni points up way road. There in the stone. In the song. Listen. He hums blood of the vein. The mind shudders, not an EA earthquake, a deep, resonant pulse. The EARTHs. Heard beat. Akin's chest tightens, his watch trembles on his wrist. He staggers back. Then Kalu emerges from shadows. Ignores Akin. Hands papers to young workers. A miner's oath in Zulu, English, Kosa. Asterisk by the land, we swear no more silence. No more fia or. Our song is breath, memory, fire. Buried, we still shine. Asterisk the men pass it around. No cheers. Just eyes burning like coals. Akin knows he's lost. Not in board rooms. Not in profits. But in this, he's defto the song. He flees. As his helicopter lifts off, he glimpses miners below, hand in hand, singing. The sound ba relay reaches him, but it pierces like light through cracks. That light, he realizes, will find his eagle's nest. And he can no longer pretend he's the eagle. The basement of Lagos Hope bookstore glowed dim under yellow bulbs. The African map on the wall had been redrawn, no borders or capitals now, just rivers snaking like veins, ancient mountain ranges, dotted. Lines tracing tribal migrations. Red marked poisoned waters. Green, surviving forests. Blue pins showed memory keepers, elders who still knew the old stories. Kalu, Amina, and Malungu hunched over a table. Malungu, a retired Kosa history teacher with snow-white hair and eagle sharp eyes, had arrived 3 days prior with a crate of old tapes. After he wring blood of the vein, he'd said, "This isn't a song. It's an Allah RM clock. I've studied Luo Carvings, Hausa amulets, Hausa initiation symbols." Malungu pointed at the map. "See the pattern spirals." He laid out 3 rubbings, a Luo stone zirabaros, coiled in a spiral. A Hausa eye of life charm, its center swirling. Kosa face paint from coming of age rites, the same looping design. In our tongues, the spiral means return, Malungu said. Not backway RD, four-way RD with memory. Like a river flowing ahead while every drop cycles back. Amina slammed the table. So blood of the vein resonates. Because it wakes this spiral memory exactly. Malungu nodded. Colonialism cut us apart, made us ashamed of roots. But real progress isn't killing the past, it's letting the tree grow new branches. Kalu touched his stone. What do we do? Walk the old roads. Malungu spread his hands. Not pilgrimage, connection. Take youth across 3 lands, from Nairobi's lakes to Lagos rivers to Joburg's mines, record stories, save seeds, draw a decolonized map. The plan took shape. Through Voice of Dust, they called, "No passports needed. Just memory. Come reclaim your name." The response stunned them. 30 young people signed up first: Luo, Yoruba, Kosa, Swana, 8 ethnic groups total. No tents, just backpacks. No guides, only elders' directions. Their motto: "Our maps have no borders. Just breath." Kenya was the first stop. Kalu led them to his childhood village by Lake Victoria. The bulldozers were gone, but SCARS remained abandoned. Hotel foundations, rusted fences. Villagers recognized Kalu. Elders wept, recounting how development killed fisheries, drove youth to slums. But the lake remains, an old woman said, cupping water. Where water lives, stories do. They bottled it, labeled Memory Waters, Luo. Next, the Niger Delta. Amina guided them to the village where her sister vanished. The river ran black, fish gone, children's skin blistering. Companies promised cleanup, locals spat. Tenya RS. Just a sign saying eco-reserve. They recorded testimonies. A fisherman sang a forgotten river cleansing chant, voice cracked but fierce. The youth remixed it into Blood of the Vein. The SCPD silt into JA-RS, Memory EARTH, IJA. Final stop, Johannesburg's mines. Word had spread. Miners lined the pit entrance, not working, waiting. Manjeni took them underground, not to drill, but to listen. Close your eyes, he said. Here are the EARTH's song. Ness. Dripping water. Then a deep pulse, like a heartbeat. Someone gasped, I saw my grandfather planting yams. They bagged rock dust, memory dust, Ndebele. Malungu documented everything. In every village, when youth sang Blood of the Vein, elders somehow knew forgotten verses, as if the song was a puzzle scattered across tribes, finally reassembling. The movement exploded. Cape Town students painted borderless Africa murals. Dar Salami artisans welded scrap metal into spiral sculptures. Accra hosted Mother Tongue Nights, Poetry Infanti, UGA. Voice of Dust live streamed it all, hitting 10 million listeners. A documentary crew followed, titling their film The Awakening of the Unhie Road. Governments got nervous. Kenyan officials raged, erasing borders is treason. Nigerian police raided Hope Bookstore, seizing equipment, but backups were already scattered across 1,000 devices. South Africa's mining chamber wa rened, this romanticism. Will SCA re-investors? Akin Ogundami stayed silent. No more manhunts for Kalu, no crackdowns. Just blood of the vein on repeat, day after day. Then the rains came. Nairobi flooded. Mansions stayed dry, Kibera drowned. On TV, rescue boats prioritized wealthy neighborhoods while kids floundered in sewage. Voice of Dust broadcasted, waters don't choose sides. Why do rescuers the youth ca Raven rerouted, urching into disaster zones? But they didn't come empty-handed. Their packs held herbal remedies, traditional flood-proof weaving techniques, storm-calming chants. Kalu taught reed raft building. Amina Shah read House of Water purifying herbs. Malungu directed Kosa Stilt Hut designs for emergency shelters. Most shocking when they sang Blood of the Vein, survivors reported Nidame residential vanishing, sleep deepening. Psychologists called it collective trauma healing. Aid organizations power and nerd up. A Swedish relief worker admitted, your ways. Work better than our kits, because they give dignity. The movement went global. Corporations scrambled to respond. Akin Mining announced, pausing acquisitions for community talks. He never mentioned Kalu, but privately ordered, find that cleaner. I need to see him. And Kalu, after rescuing a child from the floods, he sat in the wreckage, unwrapping his cowhide bundle. The stone lay quiet in his palm. Malungo handed him tea. Now you understand the stone was never the power. You were. Kalu looked up. The storm had broken. Sunlight SBA read through clouds, gilding the youth's decolonized map banner. He knew this three-city walk wasn't the end. It was Africa's heartbeat, finally sinking again. Rain tore through Johannesburg like the sky had split open. 3 straight days of downpour drowned highways, flooded subway tunnels, swept away tin shacks in the slums. News anchors droned, worst flooding in a century. Emergency protocols. Activated affluent districts report fully functional drainage systems. From his Eagle's Nest penthouse, Akin Ogundami watched the drowning city through floor-to-ceiling windows. Up here, private pumps hummed non-stop, champagne chilled in silver buckets, pool lights glittered untouched by chaos. But his face stayed grim. He made a call. Get me Voice of Dust. I want a public dialogue. His assistant choked. Sir. They're the enemy. Government's calling them instigators. Exactly why I must speak, Akin said, eerily calm. I'm done with lies. Media exploded. Billionaire surrenders to pirate radio, supporters cheered. Critics sneered. Most just waited for the show. On broadcast day, rain still hammered Lagos. Amina adjusted her headset, palms slick. Kalu and Malungo flanked her in the makeshift studio. Will he really come? Amina whispered. Yes, Kalu said. He's listening now. Akin Ape read on screen, no suit, just plain cotton. Not in some gilded office, but on his storm-lashed balcony, slums flickering in the distance. I'm Akin Ogundami, he began, voice rough. 30 years, I told myself, I'm Africa rising. Mines, profits, penthouses, kids at Oxford, that was progress. He paused. Now I look down. My pool's full. A mother waist-deep in sewage holds her child, waiting for help no one sends. And I ask, who am I? The chat erupted, fake. PR stunt. Delete this. Akin continued, I once threw coffee at a cleaner, called him village rat. Thought I had the right boss to employee. But after. Nidame res. A lion hunted. Eyes watching from below. Not curses. Conscience. He met the camera. That man, Mr. Kalu, his silence woke me. Kalu's breath hitched. Today, Akin said, Akin Mining launches the African Youth Culture Fund, 100 million rand for indigenous crafts, mother tongue schools, land restoration. Not redemption. Just. Really a learning how to be human. The internet imploded. Greenwashing, some screamed. Others wept. But nature wasn't done. That night, the storm worsened. Landslides hit the hills. Akin's mansion shuddered, basement flooding, power dead. Gua RDS tried evacuating, but mudslides blocked every road. Trapped in Dirignes, listening to walls groan, Akin fumbled for his safe. Inside, a thumb drive of Blood of the Vein that he played it on backup power. The song pulsed through him, deep, ancient, like the EARTH humming. For the first time in YRS, he felt calm. Then, crash. Not rescuers. Not cops. Kalu. Soaked, hauling a medkit, volunteers behind him. They detoured from Kibera relief efforts after spotting FLA Res K. Kalu. Akin stammered. How? Saw your distress signal, Kalu said simply. Need help. Akin braced for scorn, for now you need us, but Kalu's eyes held only concern. Basements flooded, Akin managed. Kalu moved fast, volunteers setting pumps, himself waiting. Chest deep to check circuits. Akin tried helping. Stay back, Kalu said. You don't know this work. But it's my house, tonight, Kalu said, you're just a man in trouble. Nothing else matters. By dawn, waters receded. Power returned. Akin collapsed on a sofa, trembling. Kalu handed him a cup and a vial of Lake Victoria water. Drink, he said. What is Guru's rule? When you forget where you're from, taste the lake. Akin gulped it. EARTHY, faintly salty. Suddenly he was 6 again, BA refood in Lagos Lagoon, chasing tilapia, his mother calling Akinwand. Dinner. Sunlight danced on waves. He wept. I was wrong, he gasped. Forgot who I was. Land isn't product. People a rent machines. I was so proud. Kalu sat beside him. No one's perfect. But to listen, that's never too late. Rainey's dotted dawn's first light. Akin stood at the Returning to Roots ceremony, not in VIP seats, but among youth volunteers. We ring a hand died. Robe Kalu gave him, patterned with Luo spirals. Malungu addressed the crowd, today celebrates no arrival, but awakening. When one remembers their name, when 100 sing one song, when millions start listening, that's when Africa truly begins. Akin stepped up, bowed deeply to cameras, I'm sorry. Thank you for helping me become human again. No applause. Just silence. Then someone hummed Blood of the Vein, others joined. The song swelled, through the plaza, over hills, into clouds. And Akin knew he wasn't an eagle anymore. Just a man. Finally. Spring crept into Johannesburg unnoticed. Acacia trees bloomed tiny yellow suns. The city healed from floods, but some changes would never fade. Spiral. Reporters SWA met the founders, Kalu, Amina, Malungu, but one question buzzed loudest, show us the magic stone. A CNN journalist shoved four-way RD, Mr. Kalu. The artifact that humbled a billionaire, does it truly hold supernatural power? Silence fell. Kalu smiled, unwrapping his cowhide bundle. The grey stone lay Bari, it's Urabaro's carving glinting faintly. We call it memory stone, he said. But there's no magic. No magic, the reporter blinked. But Mr. Ogundami claimed curses. Miners swear songs revived platinum veins. How the real miracle, Kalu said, is forgotten stories being ERD again. He lifted the stone, Guru gave me this. But alone just rock. Like flags just cloth. Anthems, just notes. Yet when millions believe, he shrugged. Power grows. Malunga stepped up, came tapping, from Mali's clay idols to Ethiopia's crosses to Congo masks, sacred objects. Shari one truth, their power lives in the stories behind them. Colonizers stole our land saying you have no history. But history isn't in books, it's in elders' mouths, mothers' lullabies, fathers' teaching paths under stars. Amina scrolled her phone, voice of dust gets thousands of messages. An Igbo girl finally recites poems in her mother tongue. A Zulu boy sings mining chants to fight Fia. Not the stones doing, memory waking up. The journalist persisted, but the Nidame res the mind's resonance healing waters. Kalu gazed at distant hills, when you lock away conscience for YRS, any honesty feels like a curse. Mr. Ogundami's spell was his own, he RT screaming. And the mind's German geologists found the song's frequency matched platinum deposits, briefly activating dormant elements. But truth treat people as human, even rocks seem brighter. Before more questions, Akin Ogundami mounted the stage, not in suits now, but the indigo robe Kalu gifted him. He bowed deeply, then opened a rosewood box. Mr. Kalu, he said, I once thought power meant wealth, control. Now I know real strength is admitting wrongs. Listening. Changing. Inside, the 50,000 shilling note Kalu refused on that fateful flight. I kept this as my shame token. Today, it becomes the museum's first Awakening Fund donation. Kalu took the money, tucking it beneath the cornerstone, let it remind us, dignity isn't bought. It's rened. As crowds dispersed, a boy tugged Kalu's sleeve, Uncle, does this stone give good dreams? Kalu laughed, no. But it reminds you, your mom's lullabies, grandma's lake tales, dad pointing out constellations. Those are your nightlights. Days later, an unexpected visitor arrived, Akin's mother from Lagos. Dressed in royal blue addercloth, she spoke Yoruba proverbs like poetry. She clasped Kalu's hands, my son says you returned his soul. I thank you. Kalu replied in Luo, I just helped him hear his own HRT. The old woman studied him, then produced a tiny red clay HRT awakening bead in Yoruba tradition. For those who guide lost ones home. That night, Akin wrote in his journal, Mother said Akinwand, you finally stopped acting white. I thought it insult. It was her highest praise. Modernization isn't becoming others, it's becoming your best self. By the lakeshore, Kalu built a small altar, the stone-centered, surrounded by memory fragments, delta silt, kosa pebbles, hausa herbs, Igbo potterisha rds no prayers. Just whispers, guru, you see. Roots a re-sprouting. Wind rippled the water, ca rhying what sounded like humming. Not magic. Just a million memories, finally harmonizing into the path home. The African savanna after rain smells like the sky got scrubbed clean. Acacia trees drip diamonds, antelope drink at watering holes, egrets skim wetlands. On this ancient yet reborn land, a wedding was about to begin, not traditional. Not modern, but something deeper. A homecoming. Kalu and Amina chose Victoria Lake's shores for their ceremony, where Kalu's childhood village once stood, now a cultural ecology preserve. Bulldozer SCARS had greened over, hotel foundations vanished beneath grass, the airbed wire refashioned into RT fences hung with kids' spiral wind chimes made from scrap metal. Word spread. People came, Luo fishermen, Hausa weavers, Yoruba drummers, Kosa elders, plus the retracing ancestors' paths youth brigade. No gifts, just stories, a song, a dance, a grandmother's recipe, a pouch of homeland soil. No officiant, just old Mulungu by the fire pit, gripping his memory staff, ca with symbols from every tribe he'd documented. Today, he announced in English, Swahili, Zulu, we don't just unite two souls. We mend torn bloodlines. The ritual began. Kalu wore his late mother's white linen robe, a blackwood fish headdress. He placed smoked fish and cassava cakes in a canoe luo returning ceremony, thanking the lake for nourishment. Fishermen paddled out, scattering petals where water met sky, singing the deep, wave-like song of homecoming. Kneeling ashore, Kalu cupped lakewater, father. Mother. Guru. I'm back. With memory. With future. Ripples answered. Amina emerged wrapped in 7 cloth layers, each a life chapter: childhood, education, resistance, awakening, unity, hope, rebirth. 7 women from different ethnic groups guided her 4-way RD. A Hausa elder intoned, cloth isn't just covering. It's land's color, mother's a RMS, culture's skin. Amina shed each layer, finally revealing a hand-dyed gown, spirals and rivers, cycles and connections. She took Kalu's hands. A majestic bull was led 4-way RD, Kosa symbol of sacred abundance. But no sacrifice today. Mulungu touched its horns with his staff, we take not its life, but its spirit. May you too stand strong as this land. Kids. Hooped as the beast trotted back to pasture. Vows came in mother tongues. Kalu and Luo, by this lake, I vow, I'll never forget who you are, nor let you forget who I am. Amina in Hausa, by voice of dust, I swear, our love won't just warum to erts, it'll echo 1,000 voices. They exchanged tokens. Kalu placed the Yoruba awakening bead around Amina's neck, she tied a rainbow belt around his waist, embroidered with umtu and gumtum gabantu, a person is a person through others. Music erupted, not pop, not any single tradition, but a braiding off sounds. Zulu drums pounded, Yoruba chorus strings hummed, Igbo dancers stomped rhythms, Hausa flutes so a red. Then, the familia our pulse of blood of the vein remixed for joy. Everyone danced. Not performances, participation. Elders taught kids steps, teens invented moves, even stern Mulungu clapped offbeat. Then a black SUV rolled in. Akino Gundami stepped out. No suit now, just his indigo robe. Woven grass sandals. He ca a rosewood box of collectibles, ivory carvings, tribal masks, colonial maps. Bowing to Kalu, I'm late. But my RTA arrived first. He opened the box, these were looted, auctioned, then bought by me, thinking I preserved culture. Foolish. Culture doesn't live in display cases. It breathes in dancing feet. Handing it to Mulungu, label them not artifacts, but returns. Cheers erupted. Amina pulled a kin into the dance, come. Dance your rebirth. He stumbled, laughed, really laughed, deep an Ungue ride, for the first time in decades. Night fell. Firelight glowed. Stories swapped between bites of Luo grilled tilapia, Hausa soya spice steak, Kosa pap maize porridge. Kids played tag through shadows. Kalu and Amina sat lakeside under stars. Did we win? She whispered. When he shook his head. This isn't battle. It's planting. These people, these songs, they're seeds. Malungu brought herbal tea, guru.